Jeremy here at my YMFG. Looks like Mac got all the sawdust off of him from the last video. That's good. I haven't really done anything. This is just the next day after I posted the last video. I did mow my yard. I got the trailer pulled out of here and back in its spot. And I did throw a few floor joists up there. I got some of them in place and screwed in. Mainly today I've been mowing, moving stuff. This little road here behind the 1 ton, I park up in this area here. I always mow this area first, and then I back everything up there, and then I mow this. But this area here on the other side of this little gravel drive is not my property. All this property right along here belongs to a rich guy that lives out of town. He never comes here. So I just mow it from there over to the corner just so that I don't want weeds growing up right behind where I park my vehicles, you know. So I just kind of mow it with my property line. The guy that owns this, he's owned it several years now. He lives out of town. He never comes here. He's an old guy. I think his name's Warren. And I've been mowing it for him for years. I looked him up on the internet. Turns out he's the 10th richest guy in the world. I think he's worth like 138 billion. His last name's Buffett. Yeah, Warren Buffett. He owns Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad. Look at all them weeds. If it wasn't for me mowing this, why it'd look just like that. You would think a guy with all that money would own a lawnmower, wouldn't you? But, you know, maybe at least chip in a little gas once in a while if I got to keep mowing it for him. Anyway, this is Carol's Explorer. She was driving home from work the other day. The fender liner come loose on the front. It got caught under the wheel. She ran over it, ripped it off. It also ripped off the wheel well molding. Broke the bumper just a little bit right there, but I'm gonna try to get away with reusing it. But I did order the new bracket that hooks the bumper to the fender. I got most of the parts here to fix that. I think I'm just waiting on that little bracket. Get this thing back together. She's been driving to Malibu. She's kind of scared to drive it right now. I think it'd be okay as long as it was dry out. Probably wouldn't want to drive it in the rain. There's no liner under there at the moment. But anyway, I gotta fix this. I'll probably make a video of it. There might be someone else that's ripped one off and needing to know how to do it. So I'll figure it out and pass the knowledge on, you know. But anyway, that's gonna be coming up. And I did get the water pumps for Eliza. They showed up yesterday, so I got them here now too. In this upcoming week, if I get time, I would like to get Eliza back together. I think I know what I gotta do now with the distributor. Hopefully the water pumps go on easy. I've heard of people having trouble getting that bolt out that's inside the water neck on the bottom. Some people say it's real easy, other people say it's hard. Probably depends on the motor, the car, how bad it is. Hoping mine come out easy. You just never know. Be good if they did. Certainly don't want a broken bolt in the block down there. Hey, wasn't able to get too much done today. I did get the floor joists up there though. Or at least as many as I'm going to put up for now. I want to get the siding on this end before I go any further. And that third pole we got to set, I got concrete in the bottom of that hole now. We'll let it set at least till tomorrow before we try to set the pole. But yeah, that's where we're at on that, guys. Let me show you from upstairs. With the floor joists laid out up there, you can kind of start to get an idea of the size the deck is going to be. It's going to be all right. I think I'm really going to enjoy this when it's done. And I got Eliza jacked up with some blocks under the tires there. I got the back wheels chalked, and I opened up our water pumps from Dennis Carpenter. Boy, they sure had them packaged nice. They take a lot of pride in the way they send their stuff. I put a lot of packing out of there. These are supposed to be improved pillar design, roller bearings instead of bushings, just better water pumps, more modern. I haven't really started on this yet. I got the belt off. I got the bottom radiator hoses pulled off so the water could drain out. In each one of those motor mounts, they have a cotter pin in them. I pulled the cotter pins out. That's as far as I've got so far. I was saying that some guys say these water pumps, that bolt that's inside the bottom water neck is hard to get out. Other guys say it's easy. I just wanted to try one before I go in tonight, just to see if I could get it out easily or not. And what I'm finding, the one on the driver's side, I think I about got out. Let me keep going here and we'll see. That's it right there. Problem is, the one on the passenger side, I can't get the socket on it. There's so much rust and crud built up around the bolt head that I can't get the socket on it at the present moment. I've been trying to dig in there with a screwdriver and dig the rust out, but so far I'm not having much luck. If it keeps fighting me, I might pull the radiator back out so I can get a little better access in there. I still don't think I could see it very good, but maybe I could get my head up in there. I did get this one out, so this water pump maybe will come off. I get the other ones out. The other one's got me a little bit worried. It's either got stuff built up around the head of it, or the head of it is, the corners are rotted off, one or the other. I hope it's not the corners rotted off. But anyway, let me see what I can do here. This is the one I just took out. If you look at it, the corners are kind of rotted off. I got it out, but it don't look good. I'm getting to think now that other one might be rotted off so bad I'm not gonna be able to get a socket on it. The washer's even rotted in half. Yeah, that other side might get to be a bear. I dug around in there a little more with a screwdriver. It seemed like a 9/16 socket would just go right over the head of the bolt. I could just kind of feel it turn and slip over the corners. I took a 13 millimeter and kind of drove it in there with that hammer. Let's see if maybe I can get that to grab. It is a 6-point socket, so if I can get it to grab, maybe I can get it off there. God, I hope so. No, just slipping. Try to beat it on there one more time. I'm pretty sure the head of that bolt's just round, pretty much. Not even close. I wonder what the next size smaller is. 1/2 inch maybe? I can feel the depth that's slipping on there. It's going on to my bolt head that far, which should be fine, but that's how much play I've got, and that's a 1/2 inch socket. That should be 9/16, so. I think I got it. Something's happening anyway. Boy, am I glad to see that. Ever since I bought this car, the one water pump on the passenger side had some end play in it. It's dripped a little bit from time to time. It would quit, and then it would drip again, but never leaked real bad until all these recent overheating issues and this radiator swap and all of that. Then it got leaking pretty good. But anyway, when I first bought this car, noticed that drip, and I figured there was going to come a point I was going to have to change water pumps. So I read about it and looked into it to see what I was going to be up against, you know, to kind of get an idea of what it took. And you get reading in the forums, some guys said it's nothing to it, it's real easy, not a problem at all. And other guys said that bolt inside the lower neck on the water pump where the hose goes, it's inside there in the water all the time. So you have a hard time getting that bolt out. So I didn't know what to expect. The bolt on the driver's side water pump fought me a little bit. Head was kind of rounded off, but it came out. And if the other one would have done the same, I would have been one of the guys writing in saying, nothing to it, it's real easy to do. That wasn't the case. The one on the passenger side, it's 3/8 bolt with a 9/16 head. 9/16 socket wouldn't touch it. And I had a 6-point on it. You know, that's usually, you know, it got flat sides you can connect with. On a 12-point, they just grab the corners. Well, if your corners are gone, it won't work. So you're generally better off with a 6-point. As long as you got some flat sides on there, should be able to get it, right? No, I wasn't even close. So I tried a 14mm socket. That's 0.2 of a millimeter smaller than a 9/16. So that wouldn't touch it either, it'd just roll right around. Put a 13mm socket on there, and it stripped out too. And next thing you know, it was rolling around. I thought, oh boy, because you can't get a line of sight on that. I'd have a hard time drilling the center or anything. I don't know if a guy took the fan and radiator out, maybe you could get in there to drill it, but as it is, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to see where you're drilling, let alone weld a nut on there and try to do that trick. Couldn't do that either. Anyway, my friend Dan's got some of these extractor sockets. They look like that on the end. They'll bite into a rounded off bolt. I didn't have any. Thought about going buying some, but Dan said he had some I could borrow. Tried the 9/16 first. It wouldn't even contact the bolt. I put the 1/2 inch on there, and then he did it with a MAP gas torch for probably about 2 minutes until I thought it was good and hot. And then just real easy like, I just kind of started working that, and I got it. And this is what my bolt looks like. That was once a 9/16 bolt. And there's the one on the other side. It's not very good either, but yeah. So I will say that those are kind of hard to do. If you got a bad bolt in there, you're going to be fighting it. And I was lucky. This one is 13 millimeter, and it's loose in there. That was a 13 millimeter over that 9/16 bolt head, and it was just about rounded off to the point you would have went the next size smaller, which would have been the 7/16 one. Maybe you could have drove it on there if it had chewed that off more. But luckily we got it. I think if you'd have kept chewing it off, pretty soon the damn water pump would have just pulled off. Then maybe you could have got the broken stud out. If this hadn't worked, I think probably what I was going to do is reach in there with a cutoff wheel and a Sawzall, try to cut the bottom portion of the water pump away enough that I could see it. And then I figured after I could see it, I could figure something out to do. But luckily, this did work. But it wasn't actually the bolts froze up in there. They weren't. I mean, they came out pretty good. If you could just contact the head of them to grab them to get them out. If that bolt had have been frozen in there, this might have just kept eating it away and not got it. But anyway, we got it. Thank you, Dan, for letting me use this. I didn't know, you know, but it worked. Between this and this, I got it. So we'll continue on with this video. It'll just be a simple water pump, well, double water pump change out. I'm thinking at this point, hard stuff should be done, right? I hope so. I'm ready for some low-hanging fruit. I've had nothing but hard here lately, and I'm not kidding you. All right, guys, back out here. It's the next day. After successfully getting that bolt out of there yesterday, I took a jack and a piece of wood, put it underneath the oil pan. I didn't crank up on that much. You couldn't visibly see the motor lift. Just got a little tension under it, so I know it would hold there. And the other bolts come out easy, and I got the water pumps off. You know, the new one was saying that it's improved impeller design, and it is. If you look, the new one has many more vanes in it than the originals did. And these are straight. These are cut straight. If you can see that. These have got a curve in them. So, we're supposed to have improved impeller design, which you can visibly see we do. This has got a bronze bushing that is used as a bearing on the center shaft. This one's supposed to have like roller bearings, probably needle bearings or something. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the water pumps so far. We'll get them on there and see how they work. But with both of these off of here, this one's leaking oil out of it. That's odd. Let's see, that would have been the passenger side one. That's the one with all the in play. Still rolls nice, but anyway, I'm going to start cleaning up the surfaces here on the block and get these new ones ready to install. I am glad I left the distributor off, seeing as how I had it off anyway. It did make it more, yeah, it's more visible, easier to reach, easier to see, you know. And these were 5/8 socket on these two nuts. After you get the cotter pins out, I didn't have any trouble with them whatsoever. And you just kind of wiggle the water pumps off of there. Anyway, let me get these surfaces cleaned up and we'll start going back together with this old girl. I'd like to have it running by the end of the day. I got those two surfaces cleaned up good. So I think I'm ready to go back on. As I look at this, where that bottom bolt goes in that I had trouble getting out, that hole's only that deep. And I picked up a couple new bolts for that yesterday, but I didn't take one of the old ones with me. The ones I got are, them are grade 8 bolts. The ones I got are like a ½ an inch longer. I think I need to go to town and get me 2 more bolts. Those were 1.5 inches. I need inch bolts. Got 2 grade 8 lock washers. The guy's always saying you ought to put stainless steel ones in there. I don't disagree with that. Stainless steel would be better, but I figured them lasted in there for 80 years. 80 years from now, the next guy can worry about it. That would make the car, what, 168 years old if we went another, it's 84 years old now. If we went another 84 years, the next guy that was doing these water pumps, the car would be 168 years old. He's gonna have to go get him one of these Irwin rounded bolt extractor kits. But does a car even last 168 years? We're not really far enough along in the evolution of human development to even know the answer to that question. I think the oldest car now wouldn't be that old. Was it the first car maybe patented like in 1884 or 1885, something like that, Mercedes-Benz? That car's surviving. It's in a museum somewhere. Might need a water pump, who knows. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go to town, pick up a couple shorter bolts, come back here and bolt these on. I don't know the sequence you're supposed to tighten these bolts, but generally you work your way out from the center. So this center bolt right under the pulley, I'm gonna start with it, get it snugged up pretty good, go around to the other 3, snug them up about the same, and then go back and do it again. This bottom bolt, it's just a grade 8 bolt, but I did put anti-seize on it. Might make it better for the guy in the future, possibly. I'm hoping I never have to take them back off, but you never know. But even if I do, it'll probably be within the next 20 years. And I figure if I was able to get those out the way they were, I should be able to do it 20 years from now. Anything after 20 years from now, I'd probably be too old to be messing with it, I would think. All right, let's get our motor mount nut and washer back on there. I'm not gonna tighten that yet. I'm just gonna start it on there. Those holes are slotted. I probably need both of them on before I get the motor squared up in there, possibly. So this water pump's on. I'm gonna go for number 2. All right, that water pump is on there. This one here, I've got the gasket stuck to the block there. So let's see if we can get it on as well. NICs, you're welcome, future guy. Thinking I had a coffee can around here with automotive bolts in it. Probably came out of intake manifolds or whatever, you know. Same thing it looks to me like. Saves me a trip. Just snugging them all down at first until the bolt contacts the face of the water pump, and try to torque them evenly. All right, those are both on there and torqued down. I think we can take the jack from underneath the oil pan. Got quite a bit of tension on that. I had to jack it up a little further to get the impeller to go in on the hole on the driver's side. But that's all in there. Should be good, I'm thinking. So, guess now we tighten up the motor mount bolts and try to get the belt back on it and the hoses back on it. Back on this distributor. That's a dwell set of passenger side points. I've got isolated there with a piece of cardboard. I've been messing with the driver's side points, and right now I've got them opening and closing. And if I reach in there with a feeler gauge, what I did, I put the rub block on the flat spot, like it is now, and then I moved the elliptical until the light would go out, or come on, I should say. And then I put it up on the point of the point cam and checked to see what my gap was. It looks like I got about 14 there. If I put it at 15, then they never close. So I think we're going to go with 14 there and just see what happens. It's just the points aren't made right. Anyway, it should work right now. Let's put it on there and see. That seems pretty good. Not popping anymore. I think I button everything up here and just take it for a drive. See if it runs good, see if it gets hot. Might have to adjust the timing just a little. I really need to get a new old stock points or something for this. I've had people ask me if the points are burned at all. They're not. I've got 3 sets here I've been messing with, and they all look brand new. It's just my feeling is on them. I would need a set of good ones here to compare it to. I feel like the elliptical holes are made wrong, and you can't get full adjustment out of them through the elliptical screw. That's the way I feel about it. But anyway, I'm not real sure. I just know they don't work quite right. But it does seem to be running pretty good right now. I'm gonna clean up here, check for leaks, get the radiator cap back on it. I think I'm gonna chop the spring off of it. That shouldn't hurt, right? Just be an open system then. I'd be open through my vent tube here at the cap. That'd pretty much put it back to the, way it was, right? But anyway, we'll go for a drive here soon and see what happens. what everything looks like down there with the 2 new water pumps and the distributor back on it. My yellow wire, I need to loosen that up and slide that on a little further. Didn't quite go on all the way. But yeah, anyway, that's where we're at with it. Don't see anything dripping. That's good. A pair of tin snips and cut this flange off of here. Without that and the rubber, I would think that would just be an open cap. Let's just go with that and see what happens. Just went a couple miles in it. It's not running too bad. Might be just a little bit choppy. No sign of it overheating though. The temperature gauge looked good. I might play with that slide just a little bit on the side of the distributor and see if I can get, it's not bad, but it just feels a little choppy when you're at highway speed. I might see if it needs retarded a little bit or advanced a little bit. Just not sure at the moment. I've had it better than this, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but it's back up and running again. You could drive it. It's not bad. It's just not quite there yet. That centigrade gauge or whatever with that sending unit normally runs right around 100, 110. If it gets up to 120, you got to worry about overheating. But that all looks pretty good. A little tweaking, I'm thinking. Hopefully I can get it. Anyway, that's going to do it for the video today. I'll keep messing with this a little bit and see if I can get it hopefully a little bit better. But anyway, we're back up and running again. This is the longest Eliza's ever been down since I've owned a car. And probably hasn't been running for a few weeks now, really. Anyway, we'll see what happens next. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all them things. And we'll catch you on the next one. Later. Jeremy.